We are on. Okay. Welcome, everybody. This is Kenneth Ellington again, CEO of Ellington Cyber Academy and Ellington Solutions. This is episode 3 of our AMA session or Ask Me Anything sessions. So, normally, how it works is basically I go over different topics and do different demos to help you guys out in your cyber careers. So, we are live on LinkedIn. Let me check YouTube because last time there's a bunch of issues. My guest host should be on pretty soon as well. Let me see. Oh, perfect. Perfect. Everything seems to be working good. Let me get my guest on. So let's see. We have Nigel Boston, Marquisha Snath on today. So today's topic will basically be covering how to use LinkedIn for your career, specifically for SAPs here in tech, because I've gotten a lot of let's say interesting messages over the past couple of weeks. So I want to kind of set the record straight on how to actually properly use this. So we'll be taking you guys' questions. If you have any questions at all, drop them into the chat. We're here to support you guys on your journey. So we'll definitely be doing that. And I'll be doing an actual walkthrough of how to actually use and navigate LinkedIn properly. And let me see any questions at all. Not yet. But cool. All right, let me check again. See, my judges are on. Let's see. Nigel.
What's going on? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you. Get my Keisha on. I'm not sure, actually. Yeah, she was asking, does this allow you to blur your background? I don't know actually if it does or not. It might.
Um, might.
I don't know. I don't know actually if it does or not. But that's a good question. Let me see. Can where is my? Hold on. I don't know where she's at. But yeah, technically we'll get started like in 30 seconds. I need to invite Marquisha. Let me see. Where's it at? An interesting second. I'm sorry, Nigel. I'm not rich enough yet. I can't hire a personal assistant for this.
Oh no, you good. You're
Let's
good,
see.
man.
Yeah, I don't know what room she's in because I can't see her at all.
Mm,
Hmm.
the link you shared with me worked perfect, so
Yeah.
I couldn't find the original like invite in my email.
All right. So Nigel, for today's topic, we're gonna because that should be on like in 30 seconds, I believe. So for today's topic, we're gonna be covering how to use LinkedIn, specifically for cybersecurity and tech professionals. Because as you saw a couple weeks ago, someone told you to hush like it was a baby. So I want to set the record straight on how to actually use this platform properly for
Mhm.
our audience. And we are streaming on LinkedIn and YouTube this time, which I'm very happy about.
Okay.
Um, so a couple of things when you guys are actually trying to navigate um, your careers, right? Think of it from like a human perspective about what you want to get out of it, right? Biggest mistake that I see professionals doing is the minute they connect with me or let's say Nigel Marquisha, right? They try to ask for a job. Hey, Ken, if you please give me a job, man, can you please refer me to, refer me towards this company? Give me this, give me that, right? And it's awkward because we don't know them, Nigel, right? You're just
Mm,
like a stranger towards me. You're asking me for like money or for help. It makes you feel uncomfortable, right? So think of it from the perspective as how can I help the person achieve their goals, right? Put them first, right? Help them provide value for themselves before you ask for something first, right?
mm.
Because if you don't, again, it becomes very, very awkward for me to help you out because I don't know what you can do or who you are. So it makes it very hard for me to try to refer you towards my company or my staff or my team, right? And especially for black and brown people, we don't have as much clout or leverage in other professional settings, so we're very kind of cautious as to how we give it out. Because if we mess it up, it messes up for an entire group, right? So I'll keep that in mind as well. That's one thing I try to tell people. I'm like, hey, I'm like, understand that you just directly asking for somebody to kind of give you a job or give you something can be kind of weird or awkward. Hey, Markeisha.
Hey, can y'all hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Yeah.
All right, perfect.
Okay. So my two other, I don't know, judges or panelists, what are you going to call them, for today are Nigel and Markeisha. So Nigel is my threat intelligence specialist for my firm for my training side. So he leads our threat intelligence course. And then Markeisha is my business partner for Ellington Solutions for our staff inside. So she helps out with the government contracting and the staff inside to try to source for candidates for our clients. And for today's specific session, again, we'll be covering how to use LinkedIn from a cyber and tech perspective to try to land a role, try to build a community, try to land a job, try to build a company, whatever the case may be. Because as I was saying earlier, Markeisha, when people don't know how to use LinkedIn properly or how to network or develop relationships.
Yeah, and that's a big one. I don't think many people understand that LinkedIn is like a social media type of platform, so it does have an algorithm with it. You know, you do have to be sure that you understand how engagements work, and if you're not understanding that or you're not treating it as such, it can be difficult to navigate.
Nigel?
Yeah, definitely. I keep it simple. I say treat LinkedIn like you treat Instagram and Snapchat and all these other social media platforms is to be consistent. If you're gonna post on your story about what you're doing throughout your day, you should take your LinkedIn just as serious, right? Post your accomplishments, post what you're working on, things of that nature, just so uh, people are able to go back and take a look at your journey, right? People do that and look at your LinkedIn, see if you're posting and things of that nature. So it's very important to not be shy or afraid or think you have to have the perfect post. Just post, and good things could happen.
I agree.
Yeah, I would definitely say learn this platform is an acquired skill. So some of the pitfalls to see people is I was talking to Nigel like about 5 seconds ago is they immediately try to ask for something the minute they connect with you. Hey Marquisha, can you please give me a job? Hey Marquisha, can you please refer me towards a position, right? And you're like, hey, I don't even know who you are, right? I can't speak towards the value you can provide my company or my team, so it makes it very awkward. So trying to like provide value for that person first is a really, really big thing people don't seem to want to do or know how to do.
Yeah, I find that people really don't treat LinkedIn like a two-way street, right? Or actually, they don't even treat networking like a two-way street. So the networking to them is what can I get out of this? What opportunity can this person give me? And it's very much on the me side instead of what can I offer that individual. And I think that the approach that people should be taking, and I talked about this in my newsletter before, is the approach should be more along the side of what can you offer that individual, and if you approach it in that sense, you will always be able to get something out of the relationship. But people like when you're more genuine, when you are approaching them with, the ability to also assist them with something. So you really need to treat it that way. And yes, if you're coming to somebody that doesn't even know you, vice versa, you really don't even know them, you can't automatically just want something from them. You have to be willing to give something. um, and I think it's the same thing too. Like I always tell my clients, treat this like a relationship, right? Like you're going out, you're dating. You shouldn't always be in the position that you want. It does need to be something that's given, like that whole 50-50 conversation that's consistently being had, right? Like, what are you also giving to that other person?
I agree. I just add just and make sure it's as genuine as possible, right? You don't want to come across where you start the relationship and then you may say something or send a message and it has nothing to do with what the person has been maybe posting about or their field and stuff of that nature. So it's very important to do research and take a look at some of their posts, comment on it, see how can it apply to you and what you want to get as well, and see if the relationship can be mutual beneficial. So um, initially, it may take some legwork, but potentially at the end, it can be quite fruitful. So depends on all the work you want to put in.
Yeah. Treat like do treat like a relationship. I guess part of the reason why people struggle with it because people have terrible relationships in general.
That too.
So I think that's part of the reason people don't know how to actually interact with other human beings. For many other reasons for that. So what I'm gonna do is, and we'll do it like another 20 minutes. I'm actually do a demo on how to actually do it right, and I'll connect with people that I have never met my entire life, and I'll show you how to actually get responses back. I do this for my students as well for our course and program. Um, but I guess another talking point would basically be on if you're looking for a job specifically, how would you guys navigate that landscape? Let's say, Nigel, you're looking for a new threat intelligence position. How would you navigate trying to find a job on LinkedIn?
Yeah. For me, there's a few I don't want to say cheat codes, but a few ways I would do it, right? So first things first, I would find what the title of that role is, right? If it's a senior cyber threat intelligence role, I'm putting that into LinkedIn in the search bar. So from there, I may navigate to whether I want it to be, remote or on site or hybrid. So what I'm doing is basically narrowing the scope and some things that I may look for as I'm doing that, right? Is I'm typing in the title, I'm narrowing the scope. One thing I used to do was I would go to how many people have applied for the job so you can narrow it if there's like 10 or less applicants that have applied for that role. In my brain, I would be like, okay, I'm one of the first ones that are applying for this role. Let me see if that is applicable. The biggest cheat code that I used to do was when I would apply for a role and I knew where the company was, I would also search HR acquisitions or talent acquisitions for that company, and then I would find who those recruiters were for that role at that company, and then I would send them a message on LinkedIn saying, hey, I'm interested in this role. If you are that specific recruiter for that role, or if you can get me in contact, blah blah blah. I had a whole script, and then I would do that. So that's one of the two ways is you got to know exactly what role you want to do some legwork and see if you can find the recruiter or some recruiter at that company that you can potentially get in touch with and let them know that you're interested in that role.
Markeisha?
So I think for me, just to kind of piggyback off of what Nigel said, I always tell my clients, don't just stop at looking at the talent acquisitions or the HR individual, right? Go above them, which is the hiring manager, the person that actually wants to have the interview with you, right? And so when you reach out to that individual specifically and do an introduction, that hiring manager, can give you an opportunity to actually kind of skip some steps in the hiring process. So if they find that you're worthy of speaking to, they can immediately go to talent acquisition or HR and say, hey, I want to speak specifically to Kenneth. Kenneth reached out to me. I love his resume. Like, he doesn't even need to have a conversation with you. Set up the interview. So that's a way that you can, truly go about it. Also, some things that Nigel had mentioned, I think too, like, a lot of people don't have LinkedIn Premium, or they don't understand the value that LinkedIn Premium offers. And I get it, the price is high, but in my opinion, I've had LinkedIn Premium for about 2 years now. And the fact that I'm able to see who's posted the role, I'm able to see what my competition looks like, I'm able to see at what, level of seniority is that are other people I'm competing against. I'm able to see what type of keywords that poster is looking for. So it kind of gives me a leg up. So it's worth actually paying for LinkedIn Premium when you are actually trying to navigate your career on LinkedIn. Also, I think a big one too is actually optimizing your LinkedIn profile, right? I think that's a really important step that should be done first. So, a lot of these recruiters, hiring managers, even your peers are going automatically to your profile and they're reading through because it's supposed to tell them a story about you. So, if you don't have that optimized, that means if you don't have a nice banner, if you don't have a great headline with keywords in it, if you don't have stellar about me, if you don't have any posts on your page, no engagement, that says a lot about you. And nowadays, companies in general are looking for people who are actually making strides, who are changing the world, right? So that whole content creation thing, that also works here too. If you're actually engaging and you're doing content creation, that gives you a leg up.
Agreed. Oh, we have our first question actually. So Omir says, when applying to jobs, how come all cybersecurity jobs on LinkedIn say must have 5 years of experience? So that isn't that's not all jobs. A lot of the time, the recruiters will write positions, and the hiring managers won't really give them the most descriptive positions about the job. So that's kind of fill in the blanks themselves, which tends to happen quite often. For our stuff, right, Markeisha?
Yeah,
We
it
basically
does.
offer what our client basically wants, right? So we'll get the JD and we'll kind of just make kind of tweak it towards our needs specifically, right? So it makes sense. So sometimes it doesn't always come in clean. It depends if you work government or private, right? For government, they have really, really strict requirements for security reasons as to the things you may need to have for compliance reasons, right? If you work private, it's a lot more free form sometimes. So I do agree with you. Sometimes they'll ask for you to have 5 years experience for XCM, and I'm like, that platform's been out for 2 years. How's that physically possible, right? So sometimes that will happen, right? But I wouldn't say all jobs are like that.
Yeah, I think also to add, if we're talking 5 years or more, 5 years is pretty much, kind of like junior mid level. And so a lot of companies are looking for people that already have that experience. And what's crazy is entry levels at, in a sense, they want you to already have like 2, 3 years under your belt, and it doesn't make sense, but that's what we're seeing on the job market. So when you're seeing 5 years, they're expecting you to already be at the junior mid-level ish type of role.
Nigel?
Yeah, I agree. To me, when I see that, it's more so okay. I need to make sure that my skills are at a high level, right? Can I talk to whatever the job description is, that needs to be done, the responsibilities, the key responsibilities. They're requiring 5 years. To her point, yes, you're probably looking for mid junior level, so you may have to have some type of hands-on skills, not maybe sometime necessarily experience at a role in a security position, but let's say you completed a boot camp or you have some projects that you can speak in depth, right? Show that you have the skill set of a junior or mid-level role, for that specific job rec. I think that could be the alternative route to kind of combat that. But you know, at the end of the day, is can you do that role, right? They may put the job experience also for the competition, right? There's probably a lot of people who are going to apply for that role too as well. So, um, I think it. I don't know. I don't really look at the years of experience. I just look at the skills and what the day to day is.
Yeah. I don't look at years either. I mean, I could see something that says 10 years and,
Yeah,
if I don't even have that, I'm still applying, right? That doesn't really matter to me.
absolutely. Yeah, don't let that discourage you. Whoever asked that question.
There's a lot of people that have 10 years worth of experience but don't really do anything from their jobs for like a decade, right? So they're not really qualified. So
That
Exactly.
keep
is
that in
true.
mind. Right. That's also going back to Marquisha's point of having those proper connections, right? So you can skip over those steps, right? So for example, if I'm well, technically I am the hiring manager. So if you're talking to someone, Marquisha, right, and I already know who you are, right? I'll tell Marquisha just to schedule an interview, right? So I don't care about the job, the JD, right? If I know you can do the job, right, I can vouch for you towards our client. Compared towards if I have no idea who you are and you don't have any connections at all, right? It's much harder because I have to just blindly trust based off of your resume, which you could have lied on, right? Or your profile, which you could have just tweaked just for that specific position. That makes it harder. So just little nuggets for you guys to keep in mind.
Yep.
Another point that I want to touch on before we go towards the demo. And again, guys, please put your questions at the chat. We're here to help you out. Um, is I know you guys for experiences, but I guess as you guys get not more famous, but more successful in your career, you will have a lot of negativity like drawn your way. Especially after the election, I feel it's gotten kind of worse. So I try to tell people don't be negative on the platform. People's lives are hard enough as it is. Don't like crap on them. There's no point towards that. It's that's what I tell my students. As you check out my LinkedIn, I'm never negative. It doesn't like help anybody at all. I tend to feel people treat us like Facebook sometimes, which people get upset about. So just I try towards people be as positive as humanly possible, right? Because hiring managers are watching that. Me and Marquis do check that out, right? Someone's like to crapping on everyone else. I don't really want to put them in front of my client. So it's not probably going to end well for them. So to keep that in mind.
Yeah, I think you should treat it your LinkedIn as your time capsule, man. I people spend time on other things that at the end of the day probably aren't benefiting you, right? So if you're very serious about getting into security, you should treat your LinkedIn like a time capsule. I always mention, when people reach out to me, they're like, how are you able to get to a senior level in like 2 years? Like, what did you do? I'm like, it's on my LinkedIn. Like, you can literally go back and look and see everything that I accomplished and what I did. You might see the behind the scenes, what I did within my organization, but everything that I accomplished, I documented and posted because I knew that it would inspire and other people in other firms, if I wanted to build relationships with other people, which I've done, they would be able to see that and see the value that I'm able to bring. So it's very important to treat it like that. The people that I talk to and mentor, I feel like they get shy and think they have to have the perfect post. And when they post, if they don't get any likes or 1 or 2 likes, they think it's a failure. And I'm like, no, it's not for outside people. It's for yourself, but we're going to be able to see your journey, right? Okay, you're doing try hack me, you're doing ellington cyber boot camp, learning about Splunk. They'll see the trajectory and they'll be able to see, oh, okay, this person didn't give up. They'll see the timeline, right? The timestamps of the work that you're putting in. So I think you should keep your LinkedIn very positive. You should comment on other people's stuff too as well. That can go a long way. You never know who that person may become in the future. That could be your new manager in the future that remembered when Ken commented on my LinkedIn post and told me good job for passing my CISSP and no one else did, but Kenneth did. And then I become a manager and Kenneth's like, hey, I need a job. And I'm like, oh, absolutely, man. Like, let me see if you can do the job because you were there and you saw my journey and blah, 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 blah. So you never know how you're going to build those relationships and where people are going to end up. So you should always keep a positive, kind of outlook on LinkedIn, not post, negativity. Because I mean, you're not really going to get anything from that.
Akisha?
I mean, the only thing I have to add is, LinkedIn is definitely not the place to really be posting like all of your, I guess, like political views and things like that, right? Because LinkedIn is a more professional than we would say Instagram or Twitter, so save it for those other platforms if that's what you want to do. But remember, you're always presenting a company at the end of the day. So these individuals who are going to your page, they're looking to see how you would represent their company. And so you don't want to have the negativity. It says a lot about you, and how you may be in the actual position. But as I said, leave all of that for like other platforms where it makes a little bit more sense.
I agree. People people are interesting, and let me put it that way. So that's all I gotta say. Second question, and this is probably for you, Markeisha. How come it's so hard to find GRC jobs?
It's actually not. So when you say it's hard to find GRC jobs, is that more so you don't have a security clearance, for example, or is it more so you're not typing in the right keywords or the right title? Because GRC is so vast. So you can type in things like risk management or risk analyst or GRC analyst or information security analyst or security controls assessor or information security system officer or information security system engineer, right? I mean, the list goes on. So there's so much opportunity there. It's just, are you looking for the right thing, or are you kind of narrowing yourself down to just GRC analysts? And then, of course, that makes it a little bit harder to find a role. GRC is my specialty, which is why Kenneth said I can answer this question. I've had numerous clients come to me, right, and they'll say, "I can't find a GRC role, Markeisha. There's nothing out there." And you know what I do? I said, "Okay, let's sit down. Let's look together." And I go on Google, right? I like Google, looking for jobs on Google. Um, and so I'll type in like GRC analyst or risk management, and a ton of roles will come up. Now, how do you narrow that down? Well, you also need to look at when exactly it was posted, right? If a job is posted more than 7 days ago, you really shouldn't be um, looking to apply for that role, because most likely it's stale, or a lot of other people have already applied to it. And then also, you need to make sure the role actually still exists. So you don't just rely on Google for you to apply. You should go to the company website and see if that position is still up there and apply on the company website. So there are so many opportunities for GRC. It's more so, where are you looking? And you just have to start broadening your search. So you can't just keep it at the basic level of GRC. What else can you do in GRC that still aligns with GRC is the true question.
Yeah, for a lot of positions, I would say make sure you're doing the legwork, right? If there's something really you want, you need to actually put in the necessary effort required for it. I get a lot of, I don't know, maybe pushback if people say this feels hard to get inside of. I'm like, well, from what you told me, someone tells me I want to make 6 figures, fully remote job, health benefits. That's a lot. That's pretty good, right? So understand that there's gonna be a barrier to entry to get towards that type of level, right? Like any other
Mhm.
field. If I want to become a doctor, my barrier to entry is I have to spend 8 years in college and probably spend $250,000 to $500,000 in student loans, right? That's my barrier to entry. Now, granted, once I finish that, it's very rare like I'm gonna have a job because most people aren't willing to do that, right? But there's a barrier to entry, right? Same for any other field. I want to be a master welder. I want to be a lawyer, right? Same for cybersecurity. The cool thing about being in tech is your timeline horizon to level up is a lot quicker than compared to other fields, which is a pretty good thing in my opinion, right? So think of it from the perspective as what are the necessary sacrifices needed to be successful in this field, and your determination is this worth it, right? Make sure you're always choosing your heart. I think I've said it probably 3 times in each single session I've done, but it's very important. I think, in my personal opinion, people see the amount of the amount of money they can make inside this field, but they don't understand the required work that's necessary to be successful in this field. And they don't really like being in cybersecurity, so they don't want to necessarily go through all the hardships to be successful in this field, right? I tell people you make a lot of money in other fields as well, right? It does not necessarily be cybersecurity. So know what your heart is, right? If this is worth it, then you can make it happen. I can give you the strategies to be successful, right? But if you don't really like this, you don't really want to do this, I can't help you out with that, right? That's internal, which I can't really fix for you. So just keep that in mind when you're looking for different types of roles. There are a lot of jobs out there. I mean, we're trying to hire for 40 positions, right, Marquisha? So there are roles to be hired for. It's just you learning how to actually navigate that landscape and play the game. Because there is a game to be played, but that's for every single field. Cybersecurity is no different.
Agreed.
All right. So it's 7:30 or 8:30 your time. I think this is for you, Markeisha. This is for the lady. I don't want to butcher the spelling of her name, so sorry if I called her the wrong name. Um, she wants to know, do you do one-on-one coaching as well?
I do, yes. And you can feel free to send me a DM, or you can also just click the submit a proposal, and we can chat that way. But just, sending me a message on LinkedIn probably just works the best.
Yeah. Support my team, y'all. I want to see them be successful as well.
Yes.
I want everyone around me to eat. All right. Let me do a demo of what to expect, and then y'all can basically chime in whatever you want to.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Let me see. Entire screen. Y'all see my screen?
Yep.
Yep, we can see it.
Awesome. All right. So this is normally how I do it. Some are the people that I have no idea who they are, just connections towards my team, my staff. So normally when I'm trying to build relationships or do new business, right, I look for people that are mutual connections. So let's say Nigel or Markeisha, right? So I can then base it off of what they post and who they connect with, right? Leverage the people around you, right? You don't have to go through it alone. So let's go towards Markeisha, right? Let's check out her stuff. What has she posted in the past week that I can leverage? Oh, this looks interesting. So let's go here. So let's say this is something that you know, right? It can be a family, friend, coworker, who the case may be, and you really like how they post and who they connect with, right? You can leverage those connections, right, to try to build your own network out, right? So make sure you read the post. That's very important, right? You sending random connection requests won't help you out. And let's see if there's anybody that interests me that I want to talk to. Right. In my case, let's scroll through. A little supports. Interest me. Let me see. Half the people on my staff already that I already know. So no. Let me see. Keep scrolling down. I'm looking for cybersecurity professionals I think I might be able to do business with. All right, so let's keep on looking. And it may be that Markeisha on this post doesn't have anybody that I can directly leverage right now, which is perfectly fine. Let me see. Terrible job, Markeisha. I can't use your stuff.
I was sitting there looking, I'm like, who are some of these people?
All right, let's go with Jordan. I can't spell this in my life. All right, Jordan Short is one of our other partners as well. She works at Elastic. She runs Stats and Tots podcast. Let's see what she posted. Oh, she posted about Chloe, who's also one of our partners, right? Let's see if there's anybody I can leverage here that I don't already know. Let's see about this Paul guy. Let's see. Principal Solutions Architect. Worked at Splunk. Senior SaaS Solutions Engineer. Principal Solutions Architect. Okay. So he wouldn't be a student. He's too advanced for what we're doing. Right, Nigel? So let's say he might be a judge though, right? You can still leverage that.
Yep.
So I'll do hit connection, right? Please add a note, right? Because for me, if you add a note, I'm much more likely to actually accept your connection request, right? So let's go back towards the post so we know what to actually write out. So let's do something like
Now, while Kenneth is typing, keep in mind that there's different types of character amounts, I believe, based off of if you actually pay for LinkedIn versus if you don't. So he has 300 characters, but if you don't pay for it, I think it's about maybe 200 or so. So you don't want to write anything too long, but you want to make sure you hit on the key points.
Agreed. And I would definitely add, please add a note because Kenneth might be a little bit nicer than me, but if you, I don't, especially if I don't know who you are, if I don't have a note, I'm probably not gonna accept it.
Oh, well, I'm definitely nicer than Nigel. So we are in the same boat. We do accept people. That's funny. I was talking to a friend the other day. She always sends me these messages, like she screenshots these messages that people send her.
Right.
And she's like, why the heck would I ever respond to them? And I laugh at it because I'm like, well, they're trying to connect with you, but they're going about it in the wrong way. And what's so funny is it's usually men, I guess, that have a hard time with like what they write in the response to a woman. I
Mm-hmm.
think it's a little different when it comes to, woman to woman
Mm-hmm.
versus man to woman, things like that. That is something to consider as well. We always have to take into consideration a bunch of different things.
Right.
Um, so you want to make sure that you come off as a male, friendly but not too friendly,
Right.
and then vice versa. And then as a woman, they like when you're complimenting them and saying things like that. So
Right. I agree. And this just goes back to the little effort of work of just doing this part, right? This note that Kenneth wrote in like a minute and a half of us talking. This will add more value, show more interest in the person that you're sending this to is like, okay, let me see who this Kenneth person is and, and take a look. So
Yeah.
if you think you're just going to click a button, hit connect, and then keep go to
The-
the next person, connect and connect. I mean,
No one give me a job. Man, it's a scam. I can't do this work anymore. It's not how it works. All right. So let's look at Paul right here for the. Hey, Paul, I want to say thank you for supporting Jordan's post for her new episode this past week. Chloe and her are partners of mine for my business, and any friend of those two are a friend of mine, right? Very simple, very straightforward to the point, right? You see how for this post or this connection request, I didn't ask him for anything, right? I didn't ask him for a job. I didn't ask him to give me a referral to Elastic. I didn't ask him to even join my judging thing, right? I literally put him first, right? I thanked him for supporting my team members, right? And that's it, right? Once he accepts, then I have to talk words about some of those other things, right? Solely, right? But again, I put them first. So I'll hit send. Right? So let's do a couple more so you guys get a better sense, right? And sometimes I'll literally just scroll on here and I'll look for new connection requests that I can basically do. Right? Don't get distracted, right? Don't doom scroll. Be very specific about what you're trying to actually do on LinkedIn. There'll be people that will just doom scroll on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter for 8 hours a day and do nothing.
yeah.
They're like,
and
I don't
that's
need time to do any studying, Kenneth. I'm like, sure thing. I'm like, what
right.
do you? I'm like, what do you? Whatever you say.
But that's another thing when it comes to your job search. You have to have a plan and you have to have a purpose, right? So you can't be aimless when you're looking for a job. You have to make sure that you completely understand, like, when I get on LinkedIn, this is what I need to do in this amount of hours. So I need to connect with 15 people. That means I have to send 15 messages.
Right.
And I have to be strategic with that. And the people that get the jobs, they're strategic. Now, if you're just aimlessly looking for a job, then unfortunately, that's what makes it a lot harder when it comes to you landing a role. And trust me, I've done both to prove a point. I've done both, right? And when you have no purpose, you are not going to land a job soon enough. On average, it can take people 3 to 6 months to land a new job. How do you want to expedite that? You expedite that by number one, getting a coach. And then number two, you have to have a plan. And so if you don't want to be that person that's still in your current role or not working, 6 months from now, You have to be sure that you're taking this serious. And we get asked, or I get asked a lot of times, and I'm pretty sure Nigel and Kenneth too, you know, how many job applications should I be submitting, right? And when I personally tell people it should be no less than 10, that is so surprising to them. Like, what do you mean I have to submit 10 applications? Like, yes, you have to submit 10 or more applications because guess what? Your competition is submitting 15, 20, or 30 a day. And so you can't make the excuse. What you really want, you're going to work hard for. So again, you can't be passive when it comes to your job search.
Yes. So, one,
100% agree.
got you. So I'm checking out Shaniqua. Shaniqua's one of our other partners as well for the Path program, right? So I'm basically what I'll do is I'll go from everyone that I'm directly connected with, right? From like a partnership or my business relationships, right? So Markeisha, Nigel, um, Chloe, Jordan, any one of our judges, right? I'll see if they have posted or reposted things in the last couple of weeks to kind of get a better sense as to what I can directly leverage for this. So let me go with this. Why can't I take comments out? Again, this is Jordan. All right.
Yeah, and all the promo today.
Yeah. And after a while, so one of the things I do, right, is I try to support everyone on my network, right? So one of my big things that I do is if Markeisha posts something, right, and I'll repost of her and I'll give her a shout out, right? Same thing with Nigel, right? Same thing with um no, I call Markeisha Shaniqua, my apologies. Chloe Markeisha. Basically, I'll support my team basically, right? Um, is what I'm trying to say. And then from there, we kind of keep leveraging our network to build our connections out, right? That's how we build a community out, right? Again, the key thing with this is it takes time. This doesn't happen like a week or 2 weeks or even a month. It takes months and years to build out. I've been doing this for my business for the past like 2.5 years, right? That's why I get all these opportunities and all these business opportunities, right? It takes time. And Nigel and Markeisha can attest towards this. But they're always like, Kenneth, why are you still up? It's like 2 a.m. in the morning. I'm like, this is what I do.
Agreed.
I mean, why are we still up? If you're, I mean, we're still up too.
Right?
If we're asking that, we're still up too. Entrepreneurship is hard.
Okay.
We are always trying to help people.
100%.
All right. So this is Jordan's post. Some people are already know. So let's see. Uh, Daniel looks interesting. F1, consultant. All right. I think he'd be a good fit. Let me some connection requests. Again, so the post, so we actually build something out that makes sense. Rather than spouting out random nonsense. All right, all right. So Jordan is talking about a new position for Elastic, right? So I have an idea about what to write.
I think something that's important too when you're doing job search is make sure you're tracking that as well. Whether it's through like an Excel sheet or OneNote or whatever, keep track of that. Keep track. You can turn it into metrics if you really wanted to, and see what the
Mhm.
percentage of job applications that you're filling out is successful or you're getting automatic denies, because that will also help you pinpoint where some of the missteps are happening, right? Maybe your resume isn't up to date. Maybe you're not having enough keywords. Maybe you're not switching your resume enough for the different jobs that you're trying to apply for. So keeping those, keeping and then making sure you're not, applying to jobs you've already applied for. So, right. So keeping kind of like a, spreadsheet or whatever it may be to keep track of your journey on the application front is very important as well.
Yeah, so ultimately being organized.
All right, let's review. So, hey Nathaniel, I want to say thank you for supporting Jordan for the new Elastic position that she is trying to look for. It was a week ago, so you may have completely forgotten. LOL. Either way, I'm always happy to support. I'm always happy when people support my team and chat. Again, you see how I didn't ask for anything at all. I made it about everyone else other than myself, right? Again, this isn't complicated. It's just hard to consistently do, right? So I do this for probably 2 hours a day, right? I set some time aside in the morning, then at night I just basically go through this, right? And this is what I do every single day. And over like months and years, you'll build a very strong network.
Yeah, how many followers do you have, Kenneth?
Let me check.
Tell the people.
What, almost 13K, I think.
See?
So this
13K.
takes time, basically. Let me see. You connect with me. That's someone else. All right. There is. Let me. One other person. Don't take questions from everybody. Let's see. Another thing that I do is, you guys have probably noticed, is I've been doing a lot more shout out posts. Because
Mm-hmm.
again, people like when you actually promote them and not yourself. So again, very easy. The whole point of this is basically just support everyone, and good things will happen. All right.
Yep.
Again, it's not I'm not curing cancer here, right? This is pretty simple. It's just hard to consistently do, right? Think of it like trying to work out, right? I wouldn't go to the gym one time. I'm like, damn. I'm like, I don't look like LeBron James yet. This gym's a scam. I can't do this anymore. That's not how it works, right? It takes a long time to get towards that point. It took me like 9 months to lose 40 pounds and like 12% body fat, right? It didn't happen overnight.
So it's all about that consistency. And I mean, just being in a position as a career coach, a lot of people are not consistent. Um, and that's really where the downfall comes from, is the discipline and the consistency. And it's, again, we're speaking specifically about your job search. I mean, even in your everyday life, people are not consistent, they're not disciplined, and that's why they're not as successful as they want to be. So you just really have to start thinking about those things more, and getting on a path to where you can find that discipline and that consistency for the things that you really want.
Discipline. I love that. That's what it comes down to. You can have it's my corporate side showing, but you can have a roadmap of exactly, okay, my goal is to get the job. If you don't have discipline on each step, the resume, defining the career coach, learning the material, if you don't have the discipline to do that, it's going to be very difficult. And I think that's one of the key pillars in obtaining and getting into cybersecurity, is having the discipline, right? Is to follow through, and each day or whatever the cadence is for you to learn and accomplish that is going to be very important. Discipline is doing things when you don't want to, not,
Mhm.
you know, when you feel like.
All right. Last person will be Henry. And I think everyone here should know Henry, because this is how we all met. Um,
Are you
so
sure you're saying his name right?
it's Henry. It's not Henry. It's Henry, because he's called Henry.
No, it's like Hanre.
That's my dog.
I'm gonna find the video he sent me about his name pronunciation.
All right. So I've done a lot of collaborations with Henry. So a lot of people inside his network know who I am. So it's normally a really good bet they'll connect with me. I reach out towards them. To Mrs. Mims. So let me. This was. Let me see. Now I'm working with her. Let me do. Let me see. I am connected with Stu Tyler. Damn, I'm connected with everyone here.
About to say, there's no one left to connect with.
Thank you for being popular. Are you kidding? Didn't. All right, I've been reached out towards him. You see how my messaging is very similar? I just slightly tweak it towards each person. So you can create templates if that's easier for you, right? Purpose
Mm-hmm.
is just to do. I'll say start up with like 5 people per day, then move up to 10 like after the first couple months, right? They kind of tweak your process and go from there, right? But you will see results if you do this, right? I do promise you that. But again, this is rooted in human psychology. And humans are the same creatures for the past 10,000 years. We're just have a lot more technology, but we're still pretty stupid. So this will work, I promise you. So again,
And
go ahead, Markeisha.
oh, I was going to say the messages being so personalized matters because now people know you took the time to write that.
Yep.
Yes.
Let me look at some of these comments.
Oh yeah.
I journalized my job search.
Again, last one that we'll do. So again, I looked at who Henry, or yeah, I looked to who supported Henry's post, right? Then I put a message and basically, and again, for all three of these, I put the person first and I supported and gave compliment towards whoever they were supporting, right? I didn't talk about anything that I was doing, all right? In the scenario, I'm not important. I don't matter, right? They matter and my team matters. Again, always put people before yourself, right? When you're trying to do these type of things. And I'll hit send. So that is a kind of quick demo on how to actually use LinkedIn for your career, right? It's very simple, very straightforward. Biggest thing is to just be consistent, all right? Is what I'll tell you. Um, so I'll last 10 minutes open up to the floor to questions. Please drop your questions at the chat. We're here to support you guys. Um, but yeah, so when you're doing this, right, two biggest things I would say is personalize each single message. I know it takes extra time, but it will raise the rate that you'll see people actually connect with you tremendously. And then second thing is to be consistent, right? This isn't a 1 day thing, a 1 week thing, or even a 1 month thing. This is a long term thing for your career, right? Your career is the biggest growth for you, so you don't starve to death and you're homeless in the street, right? So take it seriously, right? People tell me they don't have the time for it. I'm like, well, the option is you don't have a house or you have food on the table. So I mean, you make time for it. That's the way I look at it. But that's just me.
100%. And closed mouths don't get fed. So if you have questions or if there's something you're trying to accomplish, make sure you speak up and make sure you ask. You know, it's very important.
Absolutely. And we're not saying like you have to hire a career coach because I know people ask that question from time to time. Is it really worth it? Things like that. But at the end of the day, whatever works for you. If you're struggling in your job search and you haven't gotten anywhere, maybe it is time to hire somebody. If you're somebody who's ambitious and you can go out and you can figure it out on your own, maybe you don't have to hire a career coach. At the end of the day, therapists have therapists, doctors have doctors, lawyers have lawyers, right? Same thing. So it's just what you feel works best for your life and the next step in your life.
Yeah. As with anything, do your research before you hire somebody, right? I'm not gonna sit here and bash anybody if they do or don't pick up our services, right? Because you're a grown person, you make whatever decisions you want to make. Um, my thing, or my gripe has always been, this is like the one thing people will be like, oh, you can do it for free. Why would I ever pay for that? I'm like, that's everything in life, right? For example,
Hmm.
Marquise, why did we go out to lunch when I was in DC when we could make the food ourselves, right? Why am I
Right.
paying that? So why am I paying the restaurant's landlords to rent? Right? That's stupid, right? But no one does that though, right? For anything else, right? It's only for like what we do, which is very awkward to me personally. So you can buy whatever you want to buy. If you want to buy $100,000 Maybach, I don't care, right? You just have the money for it. If you want to buy a $500,000 house when you make $50,000, that's your prerogative. I wouldn't necessarily advise that, but that's your money, right? So people can do what they want to do, right? I just don't bash on anybody for doing whatever poor or good life choices they want to make.
Yep, absolutely. I see that Alfredo said, but do these tips land a job? I mean, of course, this is a 1 hour, live that we're doing. We're not offering all of our, one-on-one services here. So everything is going to be a little bit different. But when you do have a one-on-one session with an actual coach, it should be tailored towards you and only you. And so those tips should be able to help you land a job. And for most of the time, the coaching is not just a one-time thing. Maybe it's a package and things like that. It comes with more than just conversations being had. It's what's your assessments on the back end? Are you giving, are you given certain things to go do, like as in homework? Are you asked to connect with multiple people? Are you given scripts for LinkedIn, things like that? It's more than just what we're saying here. So you're not going to get everything in this live today.
Yeah, for my students specifically, I give them templates to use for a lot of their queries, and then a lot of LinkedIn stuff. Then templates to use for the further captions, which Nigel gets to see. So that's one of the things that we do. Another thing that we do is give direct access towards you guys. Right, they pay money for that,
Hmm.
because your guide time is very valuable. So I just don't give that information out towards everyone. Right. Because I found that if things are free and there's no skin in the game, people just like waste your time quite
Yep.
often. So I'm pretty specific about who we bring inside of our programs, right? Um, the way I tell people is think of this as a partnership. You get an expert to kind of help guide you on your career journey for the rest of your life, basically. So the whatever price that you're paying for me isn't that much, my personal opinion, because let's say I charge $10,000, right? And the next job I get you under 12 months pays you an extra $40,000, right? You just for extra money, and every year after that is payment back on that investment, right? So it's not that much money, in my personal opinion,
Hmm.
right? So
Yeah.
think of it from that view or that lens,
Yeah, I don't. You're going to invest one way or another, whether it be
time
time
or money.
or money. So I'll just say be strategic with how you do it. That's what I did, and I personally think that's a smart way to do it. You'll go down a rabbit hole trying to do it without any guidance. So it's up to you at the end of the day.
Yeah,
It is up to you at the end of the day. Definitely connect with us if you haven't already connected with us, and then connect with the people that's writing in the chat as well. There's no harm in that. You all got on this live to listen to what we had to say and to be a part of that and to contribute. So thank you so much for the collaboration here and asking your questions. So for sure, definitely connect with the people that you're seeing that have joined the live or that's communicating in the chat. And for those that haven't spoken up, be sure to let people know if you do want to connect with them.
Agreed. Agreed.
yeah. Don't be afraid, right? Worst thing that they'll tell you is no, right? No one's gonna beat you up. This is LinkedIn, so
Yeah, this is like not it's not serious. I mean, it's not that serious. Like it's not the end of the world if somebody says no to you.
people tell me, but like, what if they say no and they don't respond back? I'm like, move on to someone else.
Yeah, like you don't even know that person. Who cares? You don't know what they have going on in their life, things like that. Even as we are hiring for these positions, like it gets hard to respond to every message that we get. It's not because we don't care about that person. It's not because we hated that person during our interview. It's sometimes we just get so caught up we're doing other things. So it can be the same for that person who didn't respond back to you. Feel free to message them again. Come up with something clever like, hey, I know life gets busy. What'd you think about the game last night? Things like that. Just, sometimes people forget. They'll open up a message, they won't go back to it. You just never know what somebody has going on. So maybe you could be that person that takes the extra step to say something in addition to what you've already said.
Yeah, someone told me one time this person specifically trying to ignore me. I'm like, listen here, man. The person like runs like a $500,000 company. They have a
Right.
lot of things going on. I'm like, I promise you, they're not thinking, oh, Marquisha does not responding back. Let me screw her over. I'm like, no. I'm like, they're just busy. I promise you.
Definitely just busy. And you always have to remember that. Like, there's people running companies, people that have to oversee other people. They have to be in 15 meetings a day. People that have families too. Maybe they're still in school. You just never know.
Don't take it personal.
Don't take it personal.
People definitely doing this platform. And then they always just get in like a crappy mood and start posting. It goes on like a rabbit hole. I'm like, y'all, please don't do that. People are watching this.
Right? Should be applying to some jobs and networking over here.
Yeah, just focus on
Post.
the goal.
Yeah,
All right, don't get distracted.
yeah. No, that let them tell you no really resonated with me. I was like, dang. I remember I saw that message. So, long story short, when I was applying for my role, and I was talking to one of the team members on that team, and it was for a junior mid level role, no experience, and she was like, apply, and I was like, but I don't have experience. She's like, let them tell you no, and I was like, dang, that was
It's
it.
true.
That was it.
That's how it works.
Are
All
there
right,
any other questions before
let
we
me
jump off?
see. I don't. I don't think so. I don't think there's any more questions. If there's not, again, all our, because it's LinkedIn, all our stuff is directly on us. So click on our profile picture. It'll take you towards us. If you want to work with us or any one of me, just connect with me, Marquisha, or Nigel. We're here to basically support you guys. Otherwise, our next session will be in 2 weeks. That one will be more threat hunting focused. So I'll probably bring on Courtney and Nigel again to kind of talk about how does that work for threat intelligence and threat hunting, the specifics for that. And then probably sometime in March, we'll do another session like this as well, if you guys want to see that. But otherwise, I'll see you guys next time.
All
Yeah.
right.
Take care, everyone.
Bye.
All right. And load up.